Howdy, Affinity designers. Welcome to part 2 of getting cozy with the Pixel Brush Studio. Let's jump in. Once you've saved a brush's general settings, you may want to apply some dynamics. This is especially helpful if you have a pen tablet, but even if you don't have a pressure-sensitive tablet, you can use a mouse using some of the options in the drop-down menu. For example, you could use cyclical or velocity to create a stroke variation in size, even if you don't have a tablet. Some of the drop-down menu items only work with a tablet, and you'll discover those pretty fast. I'm using a mouse right here, and so even though I've got my size jitter going, I've set it to rotation, which requires a pen tablet. But something like cyclical will just cycle through size variation, and since I've got a pretty high jitter, it's going to look like a diamond. Velocity, again, is the speed that you're pulling your pen, so that would also work with a mouse. Creating a brush profile is another way to make use of the jitters without having a pressure-sensitive tablet. And you can add or subtract points or choose from the standard profiles. Just like with the size jitter, accumulation, flow, and rotation are first set in your general tab, and then by changing the sliders, what you're actually doing is saying how much of that item you want to vary across the stroke. And again, using the drop downs or using the profile picker, you can intentionally apply that dynamically in your brush strokes. Adjusting the scatter X and Y jitters spreads out the instances of the brush. This is great for leaves and snowflakes and dust and all kinds of cool effects. The hardness jitter, as with the first four, is adjusted in the general tab first, and then you add your dynamics by sliding your jitters around. By now you're probably getting the gist of things. So the shape jitter is the same. You adjust your general settings first, and then in dynamics choose how much you want to vary based on a profile or your pen pressure. Here I'm adding the vivid light and wet edges just to show again how you can create some interesting smoke-like looks by incorporating all these things simultaneously. The hue jitter will take your base color that you're using and shift the color farther and farther toward every single color until you get confetti. The saturation jitter also affects the color, except this time when you increase the saturation, you pull out how much of the color is being seen. The luminosity jitter adjusts the color with relative darkness and lightness. So the higher up on the jitter you go for luminosity, the more black and white the color is going to get and the less of the color will be there. The dynamics panel is really the workhorse for making unique brushes and for making your projects stand out. In the next video, we'll take a look at the texture tab. If you learned something in this video, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and maybe put a comment down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.